Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today, we're going over all the reasons why 2023 can be an awesome year for VR. Everything from big name studios working on secret projects, to exciting titles that we already know are coming, plus next generation hardware on the way. Now while VR in 2022 had some serious ups and downs, 2023 on the other hand has some excellent potential and a lot to be excited for. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by my sponsor Qled Design. They carry accessories for all of your VR needs, from Quest to Elite straps, battery packs, upgradable controller straps, replacement facial inserts, cable management systems, and I'm very happy to announce their brand new all-in-one RGB stand. Your headset and controllers magnetically connect. There's plenty of options for the RGB lighting and an indicator that lets you know when your headset and controllers are fully charged. There's a link to Qled down in the description if you want to check out their products, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support this channel. Okay, so we're gonna order everything today based on my personal hype score and how likely we are to see it in 2023. The majority of today's items are confirmed, but there are still a few wild cards out there. Before we get into it though, I want to hear down in the comments what you are most hyped to see in VR for 2023. Now the first thing I want to discuss is already available, and that's the sandbox mode for Population 1. Now in its current state, this is already an exciting update, which will give us plenty of user-generated content to enjoy and allow us to create our own new worlds. But I've spoken to Big Box and I know they have much bigger plans for this update, which can eventually turn it into something like Gary's mod. It's very possible that sometime in 2023, the Population 1 sandbox toolset will be much more robust and people will basically be creating whole new games. But this is lowest on the totem pole of what will make VR so good in 2023, and it starts to get a bit more exciting when we look at the stuff Pimax is working on. Now, if you're not familiar with Pimax, they're a hardware company known for pushing boundaries. Their upcoming products are no exception, and we're getting everything from a high-end new headset with the Pimax Crystal, an over-the-top enthusiast-level headset with the 12K, and finally some crazy 4-in-1 device that's everything from a handheld gaming device to a portable VR system, plus a console and a Kinect-like entertainment unit. It's obviously overly ambitious, but then again, that's what Pimax is all about. They're claiming we're about to enter third-generation VR with new headsets that boast insane features and can basically do everything in one. Now, I'm obviously skeptical, and my past history with Pimax has left me a bit jaded, but I'm really intrigued to see what they eventually pull off, and I'm rooting for them to succeed. Now, many people agree that VR doesn't need any new hardware, and what's currently holding it back is the software. Well, this is where many amazing VR studios have risen to the top and continue to give us exciting titles year after year. Resolution Games has been absolutely killing it lately by not only adding multiplayer features to some of their older titles, but also giving us 2 amazing free-to-play games, banging out update after update for Demio, and there's more of that already scheduled for 2023. The studio is also breaking into new territory with AR applications, and their new laser tag style shooter Spatial Ops is a breath of fresh air. Another studio to keep an eye on is End Dreams, which significantly expanded in 2022 and has the highly anticipated 4-person co-op shooter Ghostbusters: The Rise of the Ghost Lord on the way for later in 2023. And of course there's other studios like Shell, Fast Travel, and Vertigo Games, all of which who have found major success in the VR space and are slowly becoming bigger and bigger names and putting out better and better titles. So it's great to finally see that VR has some established names that we could always rely on for new games. And speaking of new games, the parent company of the Pico 4, ByteDance, has committed to some significant spending for new exclusive VR games. Now currently the only one confirmed is Just Dance, which isn't very exciting, and as much as I would hate to see VR exclusives on yet another platform, we do have to agree that competition is a good thing. Pico is gearing up to enter the US market, and they know if they're going to be a true competitor to the Quest 2, they'll have to compete with games like Resident Evil 4. So ultimately this is extremely positive for the VR industry. Better title games generate more user interest. More interest creates more hardware sales, increasing the player base, increasing potential profit for developers, and then ultimately allowing them to create even bigger games. It's the cycle that VR truly needs right now to break it out of the catch-22 it's currently in. Now it sucks that we'll have to deal with more exclusives, but in the long run it is definitely a good thing. But probably an even bigger potential game changer is the Apple VR headset. If there's any company to succeed at marketing and selling a product, it's Apple. And their headset will pull VR in a new direction. Apple has never been known for gaming, and the rumors state that their new headset is not coming with controllers. So we should assume this is a much more AR and content consumption consumption-friendly device, which if paired well with their current ecosystem, can definitely outperform something like the Quest Pro. Even if it's not the gaming device that I'm sure most people watching this channel want, it will undoubtedly take VR in a new direction, as it will be one of a kind with a new OS, unique internal hardware, and some extremely impressive specs. So no matter what the overall outcome of this product is, it'll most likely have a significant impact to the VR industry. But again, software is always king, and that's why we have to talk about the 9 studios that Meta has acquired and has been quietly sitting on. Probably one of the biggest names in that bunch has been quiet for years, and that's Sanzaru. They made the absolutely amazing PC VR title Asgard's Wrath, got acquired by Meta, and then basically disappeared. Well, while it hasn't been confirmed, I know this studio is working on an Asgard's Wrath 2. Now, I have spoken to beta testers and some others familiar with the project, and I have plenty of other details that I'm just not allowed to share yet. But the most important thing is Asgard 2 is making its way onto the Quest 2. Now, if you're not familiar with Asgard's Wrath and why I'm making such a big deal about it, well, it came out years ago, and it's still one of my favorite VR titles. It had fantastically brutal combat, a 40+ hour RPG campaign, stunning graphics, and they knew how to utilize VR to tell a compelling story. It's basically a one-of-a-kind VR game, and the fact that Sanzaru has been quiet and kept their head down for years now, 2023 is most likely the year we will see this game release. It's also very possible when we will get Assassin's Creed Nexus. Early in 2022, we got a lot of leaks regarding this game, and it was supposedly very far in development, but overall not sounding fantastic. Now, almost a year since then has transpired. I have spoken to some additional beta testers, and they've stated it is coming along nicely, and I'm definitely a bit more intrigued for this title right now. Now, Camouflage, another studio that Meta acquired, is confirmed to be working on a Batman VR game. This is truly exciting because they're the same studio that made the amazing Iron Man VR game, and I absolutely trust that they will do the Dark Knight justice. But I'm not sure if this game is far enough in development for us to see it release in 2023, so it remains in the unlikely category, just like getting anything new from Valve. We know Valve is currently working on a new standalone headset, which would use technology similar to the Steam Deck and bring PC VR gaming onto a mobile device. Now, why this is truly exciting for me is because after owning 12 VR headsets, the Valve Index still remains my favorite. Now, an x86 architecture headset is also a big deal because the quality of games would shift more towards PC VR rather than the dumbed down version we get on Quest 2. There's also supposedly a new game in the works from Valve titled Neon Prime. It's apparently playable in both flat screen and VR modes and has a combination of first-person shooter and RTS elements, but all of this currently resides in the rumor mill, and Valve has been known to abandon many projects, even when they're in their late stages of development. So this right here is our biggest hype topic, with not much confirmed information backing it up. But luckily, our next game has an official release date. Vertigo 2, the sequel to Vertigo, one of my favorite VR shooters, is coming this March. Now, this title is years in development and has a free demo that'll give you a glimpse as to why it will be so good. Its unique blend of Half-Life meets Rick and Morty also feels like a throwback to when shooters were full of handmade exciting moments rather than just the repetitive grime fest they've become. Vertigo will guarantee intense action, surprising moments, epic boss fights, and most likely a few laughs along the way. It currently remains my most anticipated game of 2023, and I think it's gonna live up to the hype. But probably an even bigger deal for VR will be the Quest 3. Confirmed to be coming mid to late 2023, the Quest 3 is packing the only update I truly care about. Finally, we are getting a faster mobile GPU. Now, if the rumors are to be believed, it is twice as fast as what's currently available in the XR2. That would make an absolutely insane difference for graphics quality on mobile VR games, and honestly, that plus the lens and display from the Quest Pro is all I truly need. Now, I'm sure we'd all love an increased FOV or higher resolution, but what I want above all else is better quality games, and in order to get there, we need better internal hardware, and the Quest 3 is bringing it. Now, it also supposedly has AR technology, which I'm definitely less excited about, because unless it's much better than the Quest Pro, I don't see it being useful at all. But who knows, maybe Meta has some tricks up their sleeve, but again, I'm just more interested in that GPU. It might end up making something like Asgard 2 look nearly as good as PC VR. Or maybe it's the boost needed to finally get Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on VR, as I'm sure Meta would want some exclusive release titles for this platform. But what I currently remained hyped for above all else is the PlayStation VR 2. Not only will the hardware be a significant step forward, Sony is finally bringing high-quality games to VR. Not only are existing VR titles like No Man's Sky and Tales from the Galaxy's Edge getting enhanced versions, AAA IPs like Horizon and Resident Evil are coming to the PlayStation VR 2. Sony has previously stated that they want to bring the quality of VR titles much closer in line with flat-screen games, and there's also the rumor of hybrid titles. This is Sony encouraging their developers to either include a VR mode for their games or make them fully playable in VR. So in only a few months, VR is getting much more powerful hardware, significant developer support, and possibly AAA titles. I can't wait to see the overall impact this has on the VR industry, and I do expect PlayStation VR 2 games to eventually make their way to PC, helping to bolster that platform, which continued to grow in 2022, but didn't see many exclusive titles. Now I'm curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments on what you think VR will be like in 2023, and what you're most hyped about. And that was today's video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and as always, I'll see you guys on next time.